Feast of Saints Peter and Paul, honoring the pillars of the Church. The Feast of Saints Peter and Paul, celebrated on June 29, honors two of the most important apostles in the early Church. Saint Peter, the first Pope, and Saint Paul, the great missionary, played vital roles in spreading the gospel and establishing the foundation of the Church. This solemnity is a celebration of faith, unity, and the courage to proclaim Christ to the world. Why we celebrate the Feast of Saints Peter and Paul. Saint Peter was chosen by Jesus to lead the Church, as seen in his words, "You are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church," Matthew 16:18. Despite his human weaknesses, Peter became a steadfast leader, guiding the early Christian community and ultimately giving his life as a martyr in Rome. Saint Paul, once a persecutor of Christians, encountered Christ on the road to Damascus and became one of the greatest evangelists in history. He spread the gospel across the Roman Empire and wrote many letters that form a significant part of the New Testament. His powerful words remind us, "I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith," 2 Timothy 4:7. This feast celebrates their unwavering faith, their sacrifices, and their witness to Christ, reminding us of the strength that comes from trusting in God's plan. How to celebrate the Feast of Saints Peter and Paul as a Catholic. Attend Mass and reflect on their legacy. The liturgy for this solemnity highlights the missions of both apostles and their impact on the Church. Attending Mass allows us to give thanks for their leadership and seek their intercession in our own journey of faith. Read and meditate on scripture passages about Peter and Paul. Spend time reflecting on key passages, Matthew 16:13-19, Peter's confession of faith and Jesus' promise to build his church upon him. Acts 9:01-19, Paul's dramatic conversion on the road to Damascus. 2 Timothy 4:6-8, Paul's reflection on his life and mission before his martyrdom. Pray for the Pope and Church leaders. Since St. Peter was the first Pope, this feast is a great time to pray for the current Pope and all Church leaders. Ask for God's guidance and strength for those who shepherd the Church today. Honor their mission by evangelizing. Saints Peter and Paul dedicated their lives to spreading the gospel. Follow their example by sharing your faith with others, whether through conversations, acts of kindness, or supporting missionary efforts. Perform an act of courage in their honor. Both Peter and Paul faced immense challenges and persecution. Use this feast as an opportunity to step out in faith, stand up for truth, defend the faith, or support someone who is struggling spiritually. The importance of celebrating in Church. This feast reminds us that the Church is built on the witness of the apostles. By celebrating in Church, we acknowledge our connection to the rich history of faith and reaffirm our commitment to following Christ. If you have been hesitant in your faith or struggling with doubts, Saints Peter and Paul show us that God calls imperfect people to do great things. Like Peter, who denied Jesus but later became the rock of the Church, and Paul, who transformed from a persecutor to a preacher, we are never beyond God's grace and mission. Let this feast strengthen your faith. This year, let the Feast of Saints Peter and Paul inspire you to grow in faith, courage, and evangelization. Embrace their example of unwavering dedication to Christ and be bold in your own journey. So, young Catholics, I encourage you, attend Mass, read about Peter and Paul, pray for the Church, share your faith. Let this feast remind you that God can use you just as He used them to change the world. Go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation. Mark 16:15.